Well, hello, and let me start that again. Cut. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Yes, I was actually just uh, mucking around in iMovie again and doing some video editing, and looked at the time and realized I had to be live. So welcome to Christine and Jenna. How are you? I hope you're both doing well. Losing track of time actually in lockdown. I've got no idea what day it is. So this is what I want to do. I'm going to look at some stuff that's happening. Israel and the Gaza. There's been more conflict. There've been Afghans killed at the Kabul airport, which is tragic. There's a news report that Reverend Jesse Jackson and his wife Jacqueline are in hospital with COVID. And then we get to Katie Joy. She did 2 lives, and I want to know whether you want to watch them both. The first one, is very graphic. It's about Josh Duggar in the court hearing. The second one is about her son and more about the Duggars, but she goes in and talks about her son. The second one's less triggering. And so I want to know whether you want to watch both or whether you just want to watch the second one. It's entirely up to you, because the first one, she does talk about the court cases and, gives her legal opinion. Yes, her legal opinion as to why Josh Duggar is not going to succeed, but she goes into some graphic details. Based on the topics I've chosen, the videos are going to be this video is not going to is going to be demonetized. So having demonetized videos doesn't bother me. But I do think, though, we need to call her out, but it is so triggering. Oh, yes, and the second video features public display of affection between KJ and Toad. So I have to put that there towards you as well. So that's what I'm looking at. You haven't caught up? You was watching my church service? Well, that actually was a better thing to do. I have to say, when she went live, it was around my lunchtime. I was trying to eat lunch while she was talking about horrific details, and she actually goes in and into specific details about what that guy in the Philippines, what was on his videos. And I've never seen anybody get so excited by talking about horrible stuff. And she even says a trigger warning and freaked people out. And then she goes, well, I did give a trigger warning. I did warn you. It's like, no, you can't be warned for that type of stuff. So, but that will be up to you whether you want to watch that one or not. Because I don't want to put anyone through anything they don't want to have to. All right, so let's look at this one. So let's start off with Afghanistan, which is a really horrible thing. Now, I actually saw a meme today that said was saying about the protests yesterday about being locked down, is they've probably complained about, that they don't know what having no freedom is like. They're out protesting freedom, and you've got people in Afghanistan trying to flee for freedom. There's no comparison. Sure, we're locked away, but we're going to be released. But these people are losing their lives to get to freedom, and there's no comparison. So here we go. So the British military says 7 Afghans killed in chaos at the Kabul airport. Hi, Princess Jax. So a panic crush of people trying to enter Kabul's international airport killed 7 Afghan citizens in the crowds, the British military said, showing the danger posed to those trying to flee the Taliban's takeover of the country. To be perfectly honest, people trying to flee the Taliban has no comparison for me being locked in my house for for 3 weeks or whatever it is. There's no comparison. The British Defence Ministry said in a statement on Sunday that conditions on the ground remain extremely challenging, but we're doing everything we can to manage the situation as safely and securely as possible. The airport has been the focal point for thousands trying to flee the Taliban, who swept into Kabul a week ago after the lightning advance seized the country. A new perceived threat from the Islamic State group Affiliate in Afghanistan has seen US planes do rapid diving combat landings at the airport surrounded by Taliban fighters. Other aircrafts have shot off flares on takeoff, an effort to confuse possible heat-seeking missiles targeting the planes. On Saturday, the US Embassy issued a new security warning telling citizens not to travel to the Kabul airport without individual instruction from a government official. Officials declined to provide more specifics about the IS threat, but described it as considerate. So not only have they got, not only now is there the Taliban, there's the IS now as well. These poor people. There are no confirmed attacks as yet by militants who have battled the Taliban in the past. So now you've got the IS trying to get in, the Islamic State trying to get in as well. Meanwhile, so there's been no confirmed by the militants who have battled the Taliban in the past. Meanwhile, the Taliban's top political leader arrived in Kabul for talks on forming a new government. The presence of Malala Abdul Ghani Baradar, who returned from Canada earlier this week from Qatar, was confirmed by a Taliban official who spoke on the condition of anonymity because he was not authorized to speak to the media. So Afghan officials familiar with talks in the capital say the Taliban have said they will not make any announcements on their government until August 31 deadline for the US troops to withdraw. So the US Embassy has, so to sum up, that the US Embassy's asked citizens not to try and get there until they have instructions. The political leader, the one that fled, has come back. And IS, the Islamic State, looks like that they're trying to get a foothold in as well. So it's getting worse. I just feel for those people who are risking their life to just try and get to freedom. It's so horrible. Hello, Plan to Create. So there's lots of chaos there. Hey, Josh, how are you going? All right, so now let's go to Jesse Jackson has been hospitalized with COVID. So the famous civil rights leader, two-time presidential candidate, and his wife Jacqueline are hospitalized after testing positive to COVID-19. He's 79 years old. His wife is 77. They're monitoring both, and they're both well, that's good, Christine. So he's advocated for COVID vaccines for Black people who lag behind the US vaccination drive. But he's remained active with his civil rights and been advocating vaccines, but him and his wife are in hospital with COVID-19. So I hope everybody that supports him will go get vaccinated if they can. Okay, so that's that one. So, hi, short order cook. Israel. Israel military says its aircraft has struck Hamas sites in Gaza in an escalation of hostilities. I thought we'd come to a truce after earlier cross-border gunfire seriously injured an Israeli soldier and wounded 41 Palestinians, 2 of them critically. So Israel said a Palestinian protester threw explosives towards the troops. A 13-year-old boy was shot in the head as Israeli soldiers opened fire, Palestinian official says. And Israel says its jets then struck 4 Hamas weapon sites. Hundreds of Palestinians gathered near the strip's heavy fortified border, where some tried to scale the border fence and others threw explosives towards Israeli troops. The Israeli Defense Force responded with riot dispersal means, including, when necessarily, live fire. That is horrible that there's an innocent 13-year-old boy that's been shot in the head. He's critically injured, so it looks like he's still alive. So it's described most of the other injuries was moderate, including gunshots to limbs, backs, and abdomens. So, bracing for more hostilities, the military said it has sent additional forces to the Gaza border. Israeli media reported the military had increased deployment of its Iron Dome anti-missile program. The violence follows an Israeli announcement after a resumption of Qatari aid to Gaza, a move seen as bolstering a fragile Egyptian-mediated truce which ended the May fighting. Just days before that announcement, Gaza militants launched a rocket towards Israel that was shot down by the Iron Dome in the first such attack since the truce. Palestinians have sporadically launched incendiary balloons towards Israel since the fighting draws in Israeli strikes on Hamas. So there were 250 Palestinians and 13 people in Israel that were killed in the May conflict. Israel keeps Gaza under a blockade, tightly restricting movement out of the territory, which is the home to 2 million Palestinians. Egypt also maintains restrictions on the enclave. Both cites threats from Hamas for the restrictions. So just when you thought that things were getting better, it's got worse again. So that's not very good. So it's very sad. All right. I think so. There will be high, and don't forget the COVID cases in Israel are also increasing. That's the other thing I've noticed, Christine, is that there were a lot more women and children aren't getting out of Afghanistan. All right. So New South Wales today recorded 830 cases and 3 deaths, and more than 900 people were fined for breaching health orders. 900 people were fined. They had a protest yesterday as well. Now the rate for the Melbourne protest, 10 police officers ended up in hospital. One did have surgery. But as I said, those protests, in my opinion, are nothing compared to what is going on around, in Afghanistan. And we had another 67 cases where I live today. We're expecting. I'm expecting that to have been a super spreader event. And I don't know what the governments can do. I know the police commissioner wasn't very happy today. He was not a happy man. Yeah, I just don't know. It's interesting, isn't it, Jenna Sweet? I hadn't thought about that, but you're correct. You are correct. All right. So Australia denies the Australian government. My eyes have been rolling so much with regard to the Australian government of late that I don't think I've got any eye roll left. Australia denies at-risk Afghan employees visas to Afghans who helped guard embassy in Kabul. So the Australian government has denied visas to a group of more than 100 Afghan contractors who guarded the Australian embassy in Kabul, telling them to conduct. I can't even talk. I'm so angry. I'm so angry. I can't speak the words out. To contact a migration agent. Seriously. The Australian government has denied visas to people who helped them in Kabul, telling them to contact a migration agent. The ABC obtained an email obtained by the ABC was sent to the former contractors on Friday, informing them that they're not eligible for certification under the at-risk Afghan employees visa scheme. The ABC has chosen not to name the contractors for security reasons. I read something Tony Blair actually has very angry about it all. The ABC understands that one reason for the rejections is that the at-risk Afghan employees visa was designed to cater for those who are directly employed by the embassy and not contractors. This explanation, however, has not been included in the rejection letters emailed to contractors. A DFAT spokesperson said late on Sunday that the guards had been already approved for visas in other humanitarian categories. However, advocates say the guards had not been informed of this. The email to the rejected guards thanks the recipients for their applications and say that they have been considered by the Foreign Affairs Minister, Maurice Payne. I know, Christine, it's like the whole 20 years have been in vain. So this is the letter. So it says, Dear Redacted, thank you for your application for certification under the Australian Government's visa policy for at-risk Afghan employees. Australia's Minister for Foreign Affairs has considered your application. Unfortunately, you are not eligible for certification under this visa policy. However, on the 18th of August 2021, the Australian Government announced that an initial 3,000 humanitarian places will be allocated to Afghan nationals within Australia's 13,750 annual program. Particular priority will be given to persecuted minorities, women and children, and those who have links to Australia. We encourage you to investigate your options fully, including under this humanitarian stream. The Department of Home Affairs is responsible for processing visa applications, and your name and contact has been forwarded to the department. Further information can be found on the Department of Home Affairs website, should you wish to make an application. You may also wish to contact a migration agent to discuss these avenues. Further information can be found on the Office of Migration Agents Registry Authority's website. Yours sincerely, and then it's got Afghanistan and regional branch. So, several hundred Afghans had been recruited by security companies over the years to work guarding the embassy. So they were okay to work for us when it was beneficial for us, but now that they need to be protected, we're going to tell them to nick off. They had to pass strict security checks and in many cases were paid less than $30 a day. In the lead up to the withdrawal of foreign troops from Afghanistan, contracts guarding the embassy were dismissed as part of the reduction of the workforce. This may have impacted on their eligibility for visa consideration. So a lawyer, Glenn Colometes, who's been leading a team of lawyers and ex-military personnel working pro bono to try and extract the Afghans, said he was aware of the templated response and that the rejection of the visas was a disgrace. He said the ex-guards were all being sent a standard templated letter. All the letters had the same file number. This is clearly an attempt by defence and DFAT to look like they have done their job when they've sat on their hands for so long. You're not cynical, Josh. These are mass-produced rejection letters, and they are entirely unacceptable. Mr. Colometes said his group was on the verge of making a federal court challenge to the entire process. He said his legal team had several hundred guards seeking visas who had been rejected. The UK government has also rejected applications of hundreds of guards who secured the British embassy. So the British are doing the same thing. Many worked for some of the same security companies which had the contracts to protect the Australian embassy. The UK rejection letter contained a paragraph that said the contractors were not eligible because they were not directly employed by the UK government. Earlier today, Prime Minister Scott Morrison said the government had been taking a cautious approach, especially in relation to ex-employees from Afghanistan. Ms. Morrison, they had to pass security protocol. If they had defence clearance, they would be okay. There are people who worked with us for 5 or 6 years, and what they've been doing in that intervening period is unknown, he told the ABC Insiders program. We also have to be exercising the appropriate caution. So then, apparently, after being contacted by the ABC, DFAT said that the security guards had already proof of visas in in other humanitarian categories. So they've allocated 3,000. So they've got to fight for those 3,000 spaces. But members of the legal and veterans group seeking to help the guards said the statement that the guards had already been approved for visas in other humanitarian categories were news to them and the guards. Kay Danes, who's one of the parts of the team working with the lawyers, said they were only aware of 6 contractor guards who had been informed they had been given temporary visas. She said they'd only been given this news today. The DFAT spokesperson also said every applicant who did not meet the category of at-risk employees has now had their application automatically forwarded to the Department of Home Affairs to be automatically considered for another humanitarian stream. Is anybody else angry about this? Because this is disgusting. But yes, you're right, the Fox. That's exactly what they're saying. The DFAT spokesperson said the Australian government will continue to do everything we can to get Australians, Australian visa holders and families out of Afghanistan. The spokesperson said that since 2013, Australia had issued more than 8,500 humanitarian visas to Afghans nationals, including 1,800 in a special category for at-risk employees. So there you go. So UK have also rejected visas, but at least they had the decency. It's not time. It's not time to be nice. At least the UK government had the decency to say that they weren't directly employed. Australia didn't even do that. Australia didn't even give them all individual numbers. Australia gave them all the same file number, according to the ABC. It's just a real kick in the face to these people that have spent the last 20 years helping them. Oh, yeah. As I said, when it comes to the Australian government, I have been eye-rolling so much, I don't think I have any more eye-roll left in me. Seriously. Because I'm actually speechless. I'm absolutely speechless. Now, I don't know what the other countries have done. I don't know what the US, but I know that a lot of countries are actually taking a lot more. We're only taking 3,000 people. But at full, and we only take 13,500 every year. So, you know, it's. Let me see if I can find Tony Blair, because he had some really stern words to say today. He was not a happy man. Because if I remember rightly, was it Tony Blair? It was Tony Blair. You had Tony Blair, you had UK, you had Howard, Australia, and was it Bush? Was it Bush that that sorted it out? So this was Tony Blair. He called it imbecilic. Imbecilic. He didn't. So this is from the BBC News. He hasn't minced his words. So this was Blair calls US withdrawal and unnecessary. Former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair has arrived. The US withdrawal from Afghanistan as tragic, dangerous, and unnecessary in his first statement since the fall to Taliban. He said the decision was made in obedience to an imbecilic slogan about ending the forever wars. Mr. Blair led the UK when it invaded the country alongside the US in 2001 following the September 11 attack. He said the exit of Allied troops would have had jihadist groups cheering. Mr. Blair also said that Britain had a moral obligation to stay in Afghanistan until all those who need to be are evacuated. The former Labor leader wrote on his website, "We must evacuate and give sanctuary to those whom we have responsibility. Those Afghans who helped us and stood by us and have a right to demand we stand by them." He added that this should not be done grudgingly but out of a deep sense of humanity and responsibility. Finally, someone's making sense. On Sunday, the Ministry of Defence said 7 Afghan civilians had died in the chaotic crowds outside the city's international airport. In his post, Mr. Blair said the decision to withdraw from Afghanistan had been driven by politics and referred to the forever wars, a phrase used by US President Joe Biden during his election campaign. We didn't need to do it. We chose to do it, he said. We did it in obedience to an imbecilic political slogan about ending the forever wars, as if our engagement in 2021 were remotely comparable to our commitment 20 or even 10 years ago, and in circumstances in which troop numbers had declined to a minimum and no Allied soldier had life in combat for 18 months. The US has a planned deadline of August 31 for withdrawal, but President Biden has said troops may stay past this date to help with evacuations. Mr. Blair admitted mistakes had been made over Afghanistan, but the reaction to our mistakes has been, unfortunately, further mistakes. He said, while imperfect, the real gains over the last 20 years were now likely to be lost. That's what all the veterans are saying. They're likely to be lost. The withdrawal will have every best. Russia, he added, anyone given by Western leaders will regard them as unstable currency. Mr. Biden has vowed that any American who wants to come home, we will get you home, but has described evacuation as one of the most difficult airlifts in history. So there you go. Mr. Blair's not very happy. He's the former Prime Minister, most often remembered for the huge controversies that swirled around the conflict in Iraq. But before that, in 11 weeks after the September 11 attacks 20 years ago, Tony Blair committed British troops to Afghanistan. His critique of President Biden is unflinching. His argument about what he calls radical Islam is more familiar. The thrust of his case in this 2,700-word article he has written for his website is that the Taliban are a case study in what he sees as a strategic problem for the West, desire to turn the religion into an extreme political ideology. Mr. Blair fears the West lacks commitment and lacks a strategy. The issue, though, in Western countries and democracies is that long-term, open-ended military commitments do require public support. Mr. Blair's article comes as Shadow Foreign Secretary Lisa Nandy has urged her government counterpart Dominic Raab to step up efforts to get British and eligible Afghans to the UK. She said she had heard of people being beaten, shot or AR'd while trying to get documentation in Kabul. The Foreign Office said it was trying to get people out as fast as possible, with more than 3,000 people having been evacuated from the country since Sunday. In an article in the Mail on Sunday, Defence Secretary Ben Wallace said the West's exit from Afghanistan was unedifying and would have consequences for us for years to come. He praised the British soldiers working at the Kabul airport for dealing with unimaginable challenges, public order, overcrowding, searing heat, and desperate people. Soldiers trained for war are instead holding babies and coordinating crowds, he said. He said there was no time to lose to get people out of the country, but added the US would have his complete support if it chose to push back the deadline for leaving. Now, here's the problem that I'm seeing. All right, here's my issue at the moment. Each of these countries are going in one at a time, getting citizens out and having a big trouble. The whole thing about Afghanistan was that they worked as a united front on a united front. Here's the thing. Why haven't they got themselves in a base where they go together and they, instead of landing one plane at a time, they land 2 planes at a time or 3 planes at a time? All the countries together surely can secure the airport. If all the allies work together, they could secure the airport enough to get everybody out. Or am I making this too simplistic? Because at the moment you have the British going in, securing the airport, getting their people out. Then you have the US going in, securing the airport, getting their people out. You've got the Australians going in, securing the airport. Why don't they work as a team? Wouldn't that be easier? Because they've been working as a team right throughout. Plus, they've got all their Afghans that they were training and the people working for them. Surely they can coordinate something so that, because at the moment, from what I can see, it's just chaos. We don't need chaos. If it was an ordered approach, it just looks like they've all particularly Australia, but they've just left everything to the last minute and they're all scrambling. They knew it was coming. Why didn't they put in a defense, a proper defense? I know the Taliban's taken over, but surely there's power in numbers. US, UK, Australia, whoever else is there, Russia. I think Germany is there. If they all work together, they could get many more people out. I don't know. Maybe I'm just rambling. And what you do, as long as they've got their little piece of paper, doesn't matter what country they go on to, they get on a plane, they go and they sort everybody out at the other end. That's, as I said, to me, that's sensible, right? Or is that too sensible? I just don't understand it. I really don't. It just out of Afghanistan, they got get in and out to nearby airfield and back and forth. Oh, I understand that. I know that they have to do it, but surely you could take, I don't know. So I don't really know what I'm talking about, but it would make sense to do it, to try and get a group in and out. So I'll sort them out. But I just, from what I can just see, there just seems to be double and triple handling stuff, and I know that it's very, very, very complex. But surely they can be working together. It doesn't matter who flies the plane. Get everybody on that can. I think they fly them. They get them to wherever they're landing their planes. They can be sorted, and then taken to wherever they can be. At the moment, it's like all for one and one for all. But we spent the last 20 years working together in an alliance. Yeah, and that's the other problem too. But has there been anyone tried to negotiate with the Taliban? Has there been anyone that's tried to talk to them to see whether they can get some leeway? What does the Taliban wants them out by August 31st? You know what? They should be negotiating, saying, okay, you want us out by August 31st? Okay. This is what you're going to do for us. If you break it, we stay. Negotiate. Too much logic. Negotiation. If they're saying that they're not going to talk until August 31, well, that's fine. If we don't get everybody out that needs to get out, then we're staying beyond August 31. Simple. Let everybody that has to get out, and we'll be out of your country we'll leave by August 31. Oh. Oh, of course, I know. You have more chance of negotiating. Oh, yeah. Hey, I would be prepared to give anything a shot. They've got to be tried. What's happening at the moment isn't working. Maybe they like chocolate. Do you reckon they'd like chocolate? I'll give you a piece of chocolate. But I don't know what's going on. So I just don't know what the answer is, but surely I just find it really hard to believe that they can't team up together and do something. That's all. All right, let's get to this. Now, I did say I was happy to share. I'm happy to play whichever one you like. This one is about Josh Duggar. This one, in my opinion, is gross and graphic. Well, that's what I reckon. Teach them how to do Tim Tamer slams the fox. Sorted. So this one's about Josh Duggar, and she goes into graphic detail and even about what's in the one from the Philippines. Oh, really? Joe Biden wouldn't take a call from Boris. Trudeau ended up calling Hillary Clinton because he couldn't speak to Biden. Wow, that's disgusting. I think Canada's there too, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, so she did an hour and 10. She's discovered she can do longer streams now. And this one is an hour 12. Dinosaurs and Autism, this one's called. So this one's on her Instagram, but I'm not going to play it. However, I need to give you the biggest trigger warning that you could ever be given, because I actually was physically sick listening to that. And she actually gave a trigger warning, and when people reacted to it. Yes. Yes, let's look at the awesome one. This is it here. I don't have it. She's saved it. So it's called Dinosaurs and Autism. So now in the previous one, what was really interesting in the previous one, Toad was in the chat, and you could hear him and V arguing in the background, and V had a meltdown. So she stops her stream to go sort out the meltdown, and then she's come back. So anyway, so here we go. I need to put a trigger warning in this one too. Oh, now that you've said that, I haven't got Ralph on. You've just reminded me. Ralph isn't. I forgot to turn Ralph back on. So you can go for your life tonight. Has Ralph been on? Ralph hasn't been on, has he? I haven't got Ralph on. Ralphie. You know what, Cheap Glass? I did, and you know what they came back with? That it didn't breach community guidelines. And she actually talked about what happened to one of those girls in one of those videos. So we've got to put yeah, this one is better. I still have issues with it though. All right, Ralph is about to come on. Ralph is about to come. All right. Hello, Ralphie. You got that too, Christine? I'm sorry. And yeah, because she talked about it. I reported it. I was told it didn't breach guidelines. Plan to create. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what else you can do, because it was horrible. Anyway, this is the second one. Given the rules. All right, so let's see whether Ralph is here. All right, so here we go.
Sorry. Hey. I always like, it's like 2 seconds in, I'm like yawning and cleaning my teeth, and it's so disgusting.
She's cleaning her teeth. Did she say she's yawning and cleaning her teeth? I must say, I missed some of this. I'm glad.
Cleaning my teeth, and it's so...
Cleaning her teeth. She's cleaning it. Why does she need to clean her teeth? 2 minutes into her live. Hang on, let's go again.
Sorry. I always like, it's like 2 seconds in, I'm like yawning and cleaning my teeth, and it's so disgusting. Because then I see the playback, I'm like, what are you doing, Katie? That's so gross. I abruptly canceled that live, and I just feel like I have to come on here and explain myself because...
So now she's going to explain herself, and she's going to talk about what an autism meltdown is and all of that sort of stuff. So,
as I am so freaking people on the internet, and I hate everything that happens to me eventually becomes into like, oh my god, she's abusing her kid.
You can hear that all. Right. Hello, Molly Moo. How are you? So Ralph is back. So this goes for 72 minutes.
But I was doing a live stream, and I was like, okay, everything's fine. Everything's cool. Like, he's in the shower. Everything's great. And then, like, we had meltdowns, y'all. And sometimes when you have kids, they scream and yell.
Really? I don't like the way that I don't like the tone in her voice at the moment. The tone's annoying me because it's very condescending, in my opinion. Yeah.
And it's hard because we have gone through a lot in the last few months. We had a couple people that really took things way too far and tried to falsely accuse my husband of really terrible things, and they actually filed a false report with police, and we have ongoing criminal stuff because of that. And I was dealing with aspect.
Notice she's shaking her head, so I don't know whether she's actually doing anything about it because she's shaking her head as if she's saying no. What she's saying and what her body's saying is
tonight, which
aren't correlating. Oh dear, yeah, not making sense. If you watch, let me take this back a little bit. You watch her head not go from side to side, and her eyes are shifting.
Hard because we have gone through a lot in the last few months. We had a couple people that really took things way too far and tried to falsely accuse my husband of really terrible things, and they actually filed a false report with police.
The eyes are blinking a lot.
And we have ongoing criminal stuff.
The head's ongoing criminal stuff.
Because of that. And I was dealing with aspects of that tonight, which was another reason why I didn't go live, and I didn't want to talk about that publicly, but I had to file a police report tonight. And so, I had to file a police report today. So, that's just kind of been like our life is trying to.
Does anyone work out what she was filing the police report for?
Protect him because.
Hi, Cheap Glass and everyone. I agree, Joe. She would be a terrible poker player. Yeah, see, even she's shaking her head now when she's talking about the police report. The first time she said CPS would call around was warranted visit because she had posted her thoughts of well, there was that time when she talked about she wanted to do something to herself, and everybody. Oh, incongruent. What? I can't even pronounce it, Jenna. Incongruent. Okay. Yeah. But also she had, I believe, if we watch the other one where she goes to town and all that graphic detail, she's had a couple of drinks, and I think she's onto her. I think someone said she's onto her third can by this time. So
we have multiple restraining orders that are protecting him right now, and I'm fearful of the people that we're seeking protection from calling CPS again. So that's why I had to leave, and I'm sorry about that.
But again, she could have just come back and said, I just want to let you know that he was having a meltdown. Everything's okay, and let's go. Oh, really? I don't know, because there was... did she file the police report because of the alleged threatening email she received from a Twitter account that already is deleted? I did see that there was a deleted email or something, but yeah, she's probably blaming the same people.
Yeah. I'm just skittish. Very skittish.
Yeah, you're sitting on Instagram Live and you're on... Why didn't you sit with your child instead of going straight back onto Instagram Live? Jenna's becoming another body language monster. Yeah, we're all just working it out. Oh.
We had 4 CPS reports, and there was a creator that put a video on her channel, and she amplified the audio, and she decided that my son said certain things which were not true. And I don't even know if the video is still on her channel or not, but she gets really mad when I say that because of her video, people called CPS, but it's true. Video on YouTube, that's why they called. Easy. And children are no longer diagnosed with Asperger's. Oh, no, he does not have Asperger's. He has autism.
I don't know. I don't know whether that's true. I can't that because I don't know. So I know my cousin was diagnosed with Asperger's. I mean, he was always told he had Asperger's. Oh, is it? That was done ages ago. That's right. And I don't ever think I don't know that anybody came out and said it's happening. They played it and left it to people to make their own mind up. Yeah, see, I don't know.
And then they'll say, he's not autistic because you wrote an article that said that he was misdiagnosed as autistic. And then I'm like, okay, have you ever gone through diagnostics for children? And you have 12 specialists, and one specialist says one thing, and another specialist says another thing, and you have neurologists and neuropsychologists and then neurosurgeons and developmental doctors and pediatricians, and all of them are sharing their opinions. And then you're like confused. And you're like, okay. So we got the diagnoses, and then we were like, cool. And then like 8 months later, he was diagnosed with hydrocephalus, and then the doctors were like, well, hydrocephalus kind of looks like autism, and they can have some of the same learning disabilities. So we don't know if that is true. So here's the thing about autism.
Okay, here we go. We're gonna get educated, okay? Here we go. We're gonna get an education. As I said, I don't know. I can't debunk it because I don't know much about it.
You never grow out of it, ever. So if someone is diagnosed with it and then it changes, that means they were incorrectly diagnosed. But you never grow out of autism. So there's no such thing as moving off the spectrum. It simply means that the child is misdiagnosed, and that does happen. And so we thought we had been misdiagnosed, but we weren't. So we went to a neuropsychologist for a full appointment, like 9 months after his brain surgery. And things improved a lot, but he was still autistic. And they did not want to remove that diagnosis, because if you remove autism and you still qualify for it, it helps with education, it helps with services. All of his issues are...
So is she saying that she's keeping the diagnosis because it's helping with medical issues? Is that what she just said? Let me just pull that back.
And so we thought we had been misdiagnosed, but we weren't. So we went to a neuropsychologist for a full appointment, like 9 months after his brain surgery. And things improved a lot, but he was still autistic. And they did not want to remove that diagnosis, because if you remove autism and you still qualify for it, it helps with education.
That's what she's saying, isn't it? That it's to do... I don't know what she's implying. I'm getting the implication that
it helps with services. All of his issues are consistent with autism. All of his developmental, like, functioning, it's all consistent with autism. So yes, I wrote one time that I thought he was misdiagnosed because that's what doctors told me. But he is still autistic, and it's on all of his paperwork. But people in the literal world of black and white don't understand that when you have 12 doctors, things change with kids constantly.
the fact that she said they didn't want to remove that diagnosis, and then because of the fact that, yeah, that is interesting. But I've got the... I have wondered whether she's saying that they're keeping the diagnosis because of it's helping. She was referring to the doctors. But surely, if the doctors don't believe, why would... I mean, what benefit is it to the doctors to keep a diagnosis that he shouldn't have? I guess is the question. There's no benefit to the doctors. So I got no idea what's right or what's wrong. It's just what she has said has implies something not very good, in my opinion.
Yeah, but labels do matter with kids with disabilities. So you might not like labels, but they matter with kids with disabilities because it means services, and they're important. It doesn't limit them, but there are limits. I mean, we have to like rediscover what we think about disability, I think, honestly. I think a lot of times we're always like, well, they can do anything. Well, yes, within their context, I think you have to be realistic, and I think it's important to be realistic, and I think it's important.
She's saying the doctor said that he fell under definition of having autism, yet still had other symptoms. That's fine. But why didn't she just say that, short order cook?
Important to embrace where they're at. And if you over expect things, it can make you feel worse. But he's amazing and he's an awesome kid, and labels equal services, and labels equal getting proper education, and labels equal having your child treated the way they need to be treated in the educational system. Services is like special education, speech therapy, occupational therapy, adaptive FIED, lots of services.
So, yes, I don't know. I know she did say one day that she knew more than the heart specialist. I remember that live she did one day where she said that she, or pediatrician or something. I just know a lot of people that fight so hard against their labels. I am sorry, but that cap, yeah. I think she just burped. I don't know if you caught that.
Diet doesn't affect children with autism any more than it affects the natural population. Studies that have tried to whittle out diet as a factor of autism, diet doesn't affect children with autism any more than it affects the regular population. So no, but he has other issues, and if you followed my page, you would know that my son is tube fed.
I don't know how I feel about what she's saying here. I'm sorry, Josh. You can vent. You're allowed to. She has 61 sentence to vent. You are right. We have fought against labels. And that's the thing. I just know so many people, they just want to be treated like everybody else, but with some understanding. I am actually doing school with Harris. I'm going to my parents' house to do school tomorrow with Harrison because apparently I get the best out of him, apparently. But so Monday and Tuesday I'm doing that because his work's not modified. I just take the time. I just have to sit with him and take the time and break everything down to his level. As a former special education teacher, this makes me sad. I know. The diagnosis can often explain things about the child. So I have a child that has autism that I teach music to. I still teach music, but I have to understand that I have to keep him more engaged. But it would anger them hearing her talk about her son like this. Josh says, I fought against mine my whole life, and it's a hard thing to do. This is what I'm saying. So I know Harrison can't have fructose. He can't eat. He's on a soup diet, But I think that's to do with other issues, not necessarily his autism, but he's got diet as part of his thing. Oh, he made a lasagna today as part of his schoolwork, so he was so excited. He's just, yeah.
So he has the same diet every single day.
Could you imagine eating the same thing every single day? All day, every single day? I've just lost the light. She just said he eats the same thing every single day. How horrible would that be?
Lots of services. Diet doesn't affect children with autism any more than it affects the natural population. Studies that have tried to whittle out diet as a factor of autism, diet doesn't affect children with autism any more than it affects the regular population. So no, but he has other issues, and if you followed my page, you would know that my son is tube fed. So he has the same diet every single day.
Oh, that would be, I mean, I'd find that so boring to eat the same thing every day. Just saying.
Does your child, is it possible for issues to lower? That's a weird question. I think all people are capable of growth. So what your child deals with at 3 versus what your child deals with at 8 is not the same. So, but you're not like less autistic. I don't know if that makes sense. It's not like he's suddenly less autistic. I think services are so important for kids, and I don't think you should be afraid of a label. I think it would be worse if your child didn't have a label. I feel like if you're truly like care about your child, you would want them to have the proper diagnoses so you can help them the best that they can. And I think it's okay to understand the challenges with a label. I think we focus too much on kids being perfect, and no child is perfect. I don't think functioning better is even like a appropriate term to use with autism, to be frank. Coping skills are important, but they're important for all children. I think it's really ableist to say that they can learn how to function better.
So I think what's happening is people are actually generally asking questions about, because why, you know, she's talking about it. So people that don't know, I mean, and again, she had a perfect opportunity to educate people on autism.
I think it's inappropriate to call any child functioning low or functioning high.
But isn't that, wait on, it's a diagnosis, that's right. But don't they have high functioning and low functioning in terms of autism? Isn't that what it is? Or high spectrum, low spectrum? Huh? Isn't it high functioning? Isn't it described as high functioning? Yeah, HFA. So what she's just, I don't know. I can't work it out. Well, they talk about some program that apparently helps. That's, you know, I don't know. You bet they can learn. So she says start talking about high functioning and low functioning, but we said before that high functioning autism was what used to be known as Asperger's. But that's what it's called, Josh says. That's what it's called. She can't say that. It's called high functioning autism and low functioning autism. Yes, it doesn't sound good, but I get it. But that's what it's called. Right. High functioning autism. Some people would suggest Da Vinci would be classed as high functioning. Yeah. But that's the thing. That's what it's called, high functioning and low functioning.
It's being perfect, and no child is perfect. I don't think functioning better is even like a appropriate term to use with autism, to be frank. Coping skills are important, but they're important for all children. I think it's really ableist to say that they can learn how to function better. I think it's inappropriate to call any child functioning low or functioning high.
But that's what it's called, right? Hello, Mama Duke.
They're people, and they shouldn't be expected to fit a norm or fit into your standards of what you think they are. All children learn coping skills, so I think it's ableist to say that a child with ASD will be able to function better. All children function better with age, regardless. All children are taught coping skills, regardless. And I don't know. No, don't remove labels. I just say like I'm still learning coping skills as a 42-year-old woman. You know, like everybody needs better coping skills.
That's right. Somebody talks about ABA, the applied behavioral analysis, and she talks about why it's bad. All right. I asked autism communities pushback saying that they're being able to speak to South Carolina doesn't mean that they're not of low. Yeah. Or maybe we need to use a new term, but that's at the moment that's what it's called, isn't it? Anyway.
There's aspects of therapy of autism that I don't like. I don't like that the world wants to pigeonhole them and place them into boxes and make them try to fit into our world. I think it's ableist to try to turn someone with autism into a neurotypical. You can never expect someone with autism to be like you or me.
No, but they can coexist in the world and work and do amazing things and be great citizens.
Because we are not autistic and we can't force them to be less autistic. I don't believe in that. We've never believed in correcting his stimming or taking away his self-soothing or anything like that. Like, I feel like that's what he needs as a child with autism. We don't dampen or interfere with his special interests. We love his special interests. We embrace his special interests. Like, he loves dinosaurs, and he has loved dinosaurs since he's been like 2 years old, and he is obsessed with Godzilla. And our house is filled to the brim with dinosaurs and Godzilla, and we are constantly finding ways to like integrate ways for him to learn around dinosaurs and Godzilla. It's what motivates him.
Well, and they have the special shopping hour, don't they? Where they where they've got the is it Coles or Woolworths, or both of them now have that special shopping hour where they dim all the lights, and it's called the quiet hour. Yes, Mama Duke. That's what she's saying.
So he just learns differently. He has a trampoline to jump on. He's got a crash pad to run into. We have swings.
I've never seen the trampoline in the backyard, though, when she's in the backyard, or the swing.
Like, this is what our house looks like right now. Lots of dinosaurs everywhere. That's what we do. We've never done ABA because we don't, an ABA, BBA, whatever therapists, they don't like it when I say that I don't want my child to be less autistic. And I don't like that. They don't like that. So I know ABA is currently recognized as a therapy that works, but I don't do that. We've never done that with our son, and we'll never do that with our son. But there's aspects of ABA that have helped him, like social stories and that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of things that we don't. I'm not going to speak about what services he receives, but he has gone through plenty of therapy, lots of it. But I'm not going to disclose to anyone publicly what he does privately.
She's never done ABA, but it's helped him. Yeah, she did say that. That's what I thought she said. And then after talking about all of this stuff about him, she's not going to talk about what therapies he's had, but she's already talked about occupational therapy and all the services. I remember she said that she's skittish, and yet she's just talked about her son for the last 15 minutes.
Not nobody's business but ours. But we don't participate in ABA, and we never have, and we never will. And he's thriving, and that's all that matters.
It's called, I think it's a behavioral thing, isn't it? What's it called? ABA? I googled it myself. Some type of behavioral therapy, I think. So he probably also doesn't get to interact with other kids on the spectrum. So Harrison goes to a thing called Re-Rock the Spectrum, and it's a gym session just for kids on the spectrum. Oh, applied behavioural therapy, yeah. That's what it's called. Applied behavioural analysis, yeah.
Oh, we love you too. Yeah, every person that has a child, like if you have one child with autism, you have one child with autism. That's it. Like, you can't compare kids with autism. They have similar symptoms, but they're all different. ABA is like Pavlovian. It's like training a child to not be autistic.
All right, and she's gonna compare it to speech. Hearing this, Joanne says, hearing this makes me wish I had accepted the job for the teach special ed again.
And it's like rewarding them for behaviors that are not autistic. And some aspects of ABA can be helpful, but it's like 40 hours a week for really young kids. And it's just, it's obsessive. It's really intense. And the goal for some of these people is they want their kids to be less, they want to get out behaviors that might hurt their kids or whatever, but
so obviously she doesn't give any rewards to him either.
They use a lot of reward systems, and they use a lot of like holds, which are really detrimental. But yeah, like they'll put kids in for 40 hours a week, and it's like training a child to not do things that are autistic. And
Harrison loves to he loves to put a star on every day on his chart. I can only talk about Harrison because he's the only autistic child that I deal with on a regular basis. And I got him to do his schoolwork the other day by letting him choose a couple of planner stickers to put in his school diary.
And it's hard because
I guess I'm making him less. I guess she'd be saying that I'm trying to make him less autistic. No, I'm just trying to give him a reward. Well, exactly, Josh. What is that? What is that definition?
The therapists, some are really good and some are really bad, and it's not very well regulated. And so the therapists that do BBA, not all of them have higher advanced education. But if you speak to adults that have gone through it, a lot of them have very, very negative things to say about it. And it reminds me of Pavlovian dog training, to be honest. Like, do something and you can get a cookie.
Haven't we all done that as parents? So she's just saying that we've all treated our children as dogs, is she? Well, she'll tell you she doesn't know what he does to Stim. So we've all just failed our kids for bribing our kids, hey? You need to buy more cookies, says Laura. How many times have you said, if you put your cup in the sink, you can have a cookie? She's just said that we've all treated our kids like dogs. Look at the smirk on the face. Look at the smirk.
And some ABA therapists, they want your kids not to stim, and that's like really not okay with me. Like, Pavlovian is like when you're training a dog, and you're training your dog, if they hear a bell, they're not going to do something, and that's what ABA kind of does. It's training the kid not to do something based on a reward or a negative.
Denise done for the day gets a slushie. I guess that's on. Cool. I like that. Can I go, Julianne? I'd like to go Shadow. I'd like a slushie.
This one says, would you give someone who has ADHD rewards for not being hyper when they can't control it? No, it's not healthy. It teaches a person that food is a reward.
Someone needs to teach her the triad of impairment, communication, social understanding, flexibility of thought, and sensory issues, the main aspects children with autism has issues with. Okay, is that what it is? I thought there was programs that help them to integrate or to be slightly social, but I don't know a lot of it. Yeah, yeah. This is the better of the two.
Which has consequences in and of itself. Yeah, no, standard ABA is 40 hours a week. So if your child only had it 1 hour a day, that's not standard ABA.
So now she's telling somebody that their child is not having the proper treatment because they're only having an hour. Did you hear that?
No, it's not healthy. It teaches a person that food is a reward, which has consequences in and of itself.
So listen to this. She's having a go at someone.
Yeah, no, standard ABA is 40 hours a week. So if your child only had it 1 hour a day, that's not standard ABA. Standard ABA is 40 hours a week.
Pavlovas. Oh, I want to go get one, but I'm on curfew. I can't leave the house until 5 a.m.
If your son needs to flap, let him flap. Let him do whatever he needs. Who cares? My son likes to jump and run. It also doesn't teach them any anything like about education in ABA. It's like
oh, it can be up to 40 hours a week. She's on to her third can, I think, by this time. Kim, this is the second one that she did. She's already done one. Oh, pavlova. Oh, I might have to get one too. I like those mini pavlovas. Well, in fact, my son doesn't eat pavlovas, so I might have to get some mini ones with some cream and some fruit. I don't know what Toad's doing. Oh, okay. So the person who's only doing an hour may actually be getting the proper program, but KJ's just giving out incorrect information again.
you can have like maybe aspects like, I don't know. If he wants to flap, let him flap. If he likes to spin, let him spin. If he needs to jump up and down on a trampoline all day, let him do that. As long as it, like, who cares if it's not hurting him?
Hello, Wind Whispers.
We have a trampoline. We have a swing. Although he's kind of gotten out of that. Now he just has like routines with his toys. And I don't know what he does to stim now.
Did you just hear that? She doesn't know what he does to stim now.
A trampoline. We have a swing. Although he's kind of gotten out of that. Now he just has like routines with his toys. And she's looking away at the camera because she doesn't know what to say. Now she's laughing. Yeah, she mentioned pool. I don't know what he does to stim now.
Did you hear that? She doesn't know what he does to stim now. I'll cook up and decorate one for us all. Technically, short order cook. I should really, I've got all the stuff I could make them. I could make it myself, but I don't have cream.
He watches his iPad. That's kind of how he self-soothes.
His iPad is how he stims.
He definitely likes vestibular motion, like crashing. If he's really like super emotional, like swinging is like the best. But we bought him a new swing and he won't go in it. He's so particular about swings. Self-harm is hard. We deal with that too.
Did you just hear that? He's 8 years old. Self-harm.
He hits himself. yeah, there's Chewy's crashing, like crash pad. Like some children with autism, they like, it's called vestibular proprioception. So they like the way that their body feels in space. And so proprioception, like impact, is like
Hitting himself is not self-harm.
crashing or jumping or running into things. He likes to like crawl on the floor, slide on the floor. He likes to run and jump a lot. He likes to like run on his hands and knees and like slide into things. It's just appropriate. It's like a sense. You have like different senses. And that's like some kids just really like to feel their body in space.
The healing is a way of his way of trying to feel something, translating emotional feeling to physical feeling. That's okay. Don't boys all like to jump and climb and run and yeah, that's right. When this sounds like a normal child.
So if a kid likes proprioceptive,
How about you, Nicole Sparkles? So this is the second one. She did the first one where she talked about the Josh Duggar case, and I've chosen not to play it because it is entirely graphic, and I know several people reported it because she went into graphic detail about some of the stuff that Josh was watching. I felt sick afterwards, and so this was her second one.
If they want to feel that, they can jump on a trampoline, they can swing, they can jump into a crash pad, they can crawl. They're just very active. They like to go down on slides or like some, like it's like the I'm trying to say impact, but impact is not the word I mean. It's like some kids like weighted blankets. What's the word? It's not impact.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of people reported. I reported it, and I got a message back to say that it didn't actually break guidelines. And I thought, what on earth does it have to have in it to breach guidelines? Because she was talking about the content of that Daisy film. She went in and explained it in explicit detail, and I couldn't believe it. So gymnastics is good for, when I was teaching gymnastics, we had a lot of autistic children. They just loved it. They really did. They just loved it. It depended also where they sat. So some you needed to have the parents with them because they would follow instructions better from their parents than somebody else, and others were fine.
Not feedback. Feedback's not the right word either. Input. There you go. Input. Proprioceptive input. Input. some people, for their input, they like pressure, like deep pressure. Our son hates deep pressure. Weighted blankets don't do shit for us. Some kids, when they are, for their input, they like to wear weighted blanket vests on, because it's like the pressure on their skin feels really good. It just depends on how they feel senses and how their sensory input is felt. Like our son is very sensitive to noise and hearing, and he has a hard time with a lot of voices, and so we can't talk a lot when he.
I don't know how it works when whispers, but I have to tell you, it was the grossest thing I've ever seen or heard.
Is concentrating, or he gets really agitated. But weighted blankets don't work for everyone, so I think people assume like, oh, autism, so you must need a weighted blanket, but he doesn't like that. And no, he doesn't like to wear headphones. You can't force a child to wear headphones if they don't like headphones. And we've done listening therapy, and it doesn't help. It helps for some, but not for all. And forcing someone to wear headphones to like block things out, I think is cruel, to be honest. If they don't like the way it feels, it's not going to help. It's going to make them more agitated.
So oh, really? I don't know. Of dots without any graphic. Oh, the thing is, there's no need to do the graphic detail in the docs. There's no need to tell us what was in that documentary about that guy that from Australia that got arrested with all that CP. We don't need to know any of that detail, but she went into it. And she gave us a whole background on, for those of you that are in computers, she kept talking about torrential downpour. That's not a site, that's not to do with, for me, when I hear torrential downpour, I think of heavy rain. But she was saying it's a BitTorrent term. So I don't know.
He also has neuropathic pain. So some children with autism also have like actual physical pain from things, like he doesn't like to wear certain textures because it hurts. The way that they feel and sense things is so much different than we feel and sense things. He doesn't wear jeans. He refuses to wear jeans because it hurts him. He literally says that jeans hurt, like his skin.
Everybody's wearing blue jeans. Everybody's got their own. She knew so much of it. She knew a lot more than what I would ever thought that you would need to know. You've never heard that term used? Yeah, so she's describing sensory overload, right? Yeah.
I think just people assume that like, oh, well, kids with autism wear headphones. Not all kids with autism like to wear headphones. You know, we've tried headphones and he doesn't like them, and we're not going to force him to wear it. We did it for years. We literally did listening therapy. We would have headphones on and listen to music for hours. It didn't do anything. auditory processing disorder is really hard. He hears things so much more sensitively than we do. Like if we go to Walmart, he hates going to Walmart because of the lights. He like literally hates Walmart. He always wants to go to Target because Target doesn't have the same. So you know when you go into a Walmart and they have like the overhead like fluorescent lights and it's like a warehouse almost, and it's really loud when you go there. I would never hear that, but if he goes into a Walmart, he can hear the lights and he hates the way those lights sound. So he's always like, we can't go to Walmart. But if he goes to Target, Target doesn't have the same lights in the ceiling that are like, it's more of an enclosed space, even though it's like similar in size. The lights in Walmart are so loud, so he hates going into Walmart. So we like kind of stopped shopping at Walmart, not because it was cheaper, but because it bothered his ears.
She's laughing about it. Look.
The same lights in the ceiling that are like, it's more of an enclosed space, even though it's like similar in size.
Josh says, wait, she went from audio stuff to, doesn't it? I don't know.
The lights in Walmart are so loud, so he hates going into Walmart. So we like kind of stopped.
Does she mean bright, or does she mean that? Is it louder term? Because I thought it was the brightness that set off the sensory. I wouldn't have said it was loud. I hate going to shops because you know what they've discovered at the moment, and it looks like the next lot of restrictions that we're getting is we're going to have a limit of how many times you can go to the shops a day, because when I went the other day, it was full because people are meeting their friends in the shop and doing their shopping together, wheeling their carts. So they're going to restrict how many people can be at the shops at the same, like, so you can only have one person go to the shops from your household per day, and you'll only be allowed out an hour a day. That's a lot of restrictions we're getting.
Shopping at Walmart, not because it was cheaper, but because it bothered his ears.
Look. Oh, is it? It's loud, a buzzing sound, but that's not to do with the lights, is it? Is that to do with the lights? I think she's getting confused. Her son is saying the lights are loud, meaning it's overloading all his senses at once. That's why it's coming across as loud, not bright. Okay, great. Thank you, Josh. It's great having you here to help with this. All right, cool. But look at the smile on the face. Hello, Cal. I didn't see you sneak back in here, sneak in tonight. This is the reasons why we do this. We need to call out some of the misinformation and get the correct facts, because all of the people that watch, you know, we've got experts in a lot of areas, so we just rely on our the people that know in the chat to help correct things. And also, we can ask questions of each other and not get vilified or criticized for asking what may seem to be a dumb question, because we know that by asking a question, we're going to learn something too. So we know that there's no dumb questions, and you know, okay. Well, there you go. Well, look, I've been in lockdown for 3 years. Before that, I barely stepped foot into a shop, so I haven't been to a shop for ages, so I've got no idea.
Yeah, he hates like the cicadas, which are like grasshoppers, aren't they? Like grasshoppers. We have a lot of cicadas out here, which are like grasshoppers. He hates those too.
So Toad's telling her all the stuff. Oops, what did Kel say? Sorry, Kel, I must have missed you come in earlier. Unless it's been so long that I don't know.
And Walmart's aisles drive him crazy because they're like super crowded and filled with things. It's like overwhelming for him.
But they don't. When was the last time that she took him out, other than for a medical appointment, though? Could do.
He wants to support. Well, you know what? I want to tell you a story about Walmart, or about a really neat story about Target. So we have a super Target that's by us, and it's not near us. Like, there's a Target. We don't live near anything.
She's going to give you a location in a minute.
I just want to preface this. So there's like a regular Target that's like 9 miles from us, but we live out in the country. So 9 miles is like 9 minutes. And there's no stoplights, so it's not that far. But then we have a super Target that's probably like 15 minutes away. And if you go to the bathroom at that one super Target, there wasn't, there was like only Dyson, what do you call them? Hand dryers. And so they're really, really loud, and that scares the shit out of my son. And so one day I was really pissed off because he was like having a meltdown because of those dryers. And I know they say that they're economical and they will do less waste, but in his little mind, in his little brain, that noise hurts him. And so I went on Twitter one day and I said, and I literally stated this, I'm not even shitting you. I said, well, Target in Rogers,
she's just given her place. She's just mentioned the place. But see, I don't like being in crowded places either. I can't handle being around people, and lockdown hasn't helped that. When I went back to university and I did that day, I did one day and then we went back into lockdown. But I couldn't handle being in the room with 20 other people. It was freaking me out.
Need to do some shit. Like, you need to get hand towels. There needs to be an option for children with disabilities and adult disabilities. And I tweeted that out. I'm not even lying. Within a month, that Target had installed hand towels. Like, I don't know if I had anything to do with that, but I honestly put the tweet out. They responded and they said, we hear you, we're sorry. And then, like, the next time I went to that same Target, there was hand towels in that. You remember this?
So that's why when we went back into lockdown, I actually have been better this time round because I don't like being around people. I went to the Royal Easter Show at Easter time in Sydney with my sister and my niece, and I just about had it was a tough day. There was just people everywhere and I couldn't handle it. She's about to say that as well.
I've told this story before, but I put that out on Twitter, and then they responded to me and they apologized. And they were like, "We are so sorry. We will do better." And they put hand towels in there. And they don't have them at all stores, but Target will definitely and then they have like the family bathrooms too. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it is anxiety. I did have a lot of anxiety, but at the moment, I'm more comfortable in lockdown. I don't have to speak to anyone. I don't have to see anybody. I keep to myself, just the way I like it. Is it unusual for about family bathrooms for 8-year-olds? I'm just wondering.
That's why we honestly shop at Target, because you're like, oh, they have hand towels, and so they put in hand towels at our Target that's by our house. Oh, he was scared of going. That's why we don't go to. That's why we don't take him to Costco. We stopped. We had a membership at Costco for years. I don't even know if we still have one. We might. It's expired probably. But we stopped going to Costco because the bathrooms, they scared the shit out of him. Target has the worst return policy? Really? Target returns everything. Are you serious? They also have gender neutral bathrooms too. So I like that.
I generally don't go to the bathroom when I go to the shops. I usually go to go and buy something, not to go check out their bathrooms, to be honest with you. To be honest with you. Just saying.
For a while, we shopped at Walmart just because that was all that was out here, but he doesn't like the lights at Walmart. I'm not. I feel like Target returns everything. The auto flush is the worst. Oh my god. That scares the crap out of him too. At the Costco auto flush is so loud. And then the bathroom sinks. Target isn't that much more expensive than Walmart, to be honest, and they do price matching. So our Targets all have Walmarts by them, and they basically will price match anything that's at a Walmart. So if something's cheaper, but I don't know. Auto sense. Oh, those auto flushers are so loud. They hurt his ears. Target price matches everything. I don't know.
And we got to go back. We get onto the Duggars too. She finishes with the Duggars again.
They just have like, I feel like, I don't know.
I feel like I don't know. What? Actually, she says something unbelievable about Jeremy Voloff. And yeah, she makes. Yeah, so she's going to finish with the Duggars, and she says some unbelievable things about Jeremy.
We buy a lot of stuff on Amazon. To be honest, we don't really shop for groceries at either place anymore because we just go to our local place, which is way more expensive, but whatever. We live in the middle of nowhere. Target price matches everything now. And then if you have Cartwheel, they always have like Cartwheel deals too. But honestly, I never go shopping at stores anymore. We buy almost everything online except for groceries, especially with COVID right now. Everything is like Amazon. I buy stuff on Target online too.
That is true. She is, isn't she? Well, someone showed her Instagram stats, and she's lost something like 50 subs over the last week. So, oops.
You can't be muted on Instagram Live. But no, I can either hide you or you're. Oh, plus, Target is located in Minnesota.
I don't shop at Target, so I don't.
So I'm like, I'm supporting a Minnesota company. We don't have shipped where I live for everything. So no, we don't have shipped here. I've tried, I've looked. We don't have it. We live in the middle of nowhere.
And you'll hear Toads playing some music, and you'll hear the music get louder and louder.
My son is not fairly active, and he's definitely not otherwise healthy.
So someone said her son sounds fairly active and otherwise healthy, and so she's taken offense to that.
So, no. There's no such thing as, you don't see physical illness. You don't see illnesses. Shipped is like a It's like a, I don't even know what they do.
Yeah, we did Christoph Van Always, and we also looked at Tony Blair. His reaction, he's not very happy about what's going on in Afghanistan, and I put a solution out there. That's a good thing about Instagram. You don't get copyright for played music. Wow. Yes. Yes, that's right. He's not health. You can't say he's otherwise healthy or active.
We don't live close enough for anything for Instacart or Shipped. So I'm not lying when I say, like, we don't have that here at all.
Christoph Van Always, I am going to put I'll put up timestamps where when I can find my list afterwards, so you can go and look at the exact spot. Well, she was saying about how he runs and around and how he does that.
Like, we are 20 minutes from everything. Like, we don't have Uber here.
Oh, yeah, the next sentence is great. So she's now told us she's 20 minutes away from civilization. All right, see you, the fox. And again, she just finished. She said right at the start that she was skittish because of the harassment and stuff, but she's just given us all her location. Good one, eh?
Ever taken an Uber. No, there's Uber in, like, Minneapolis and in the city, but we don't live in a place where, like, people take cabs. We live in the country. Like, you don't take cabs here. You don't go to...
Didn't she talk about one day coming, taking an Uber home?
The bar? There is no bar. Like, you don't go to the bar.
That's right. She did say she was getting Walmart delivered to her. And don't forget, she also was getting HelloFresh delivered as well.
We don't have Uber. I've never taken an Uber. No. We have a restaurant. We don't have a bar here. Like, in our town, we have the one bar we had closed because it had, like, holes in the wall and the floor.
Didn't she get HelloFresh delivered? How come they have nothing there when she can get her Amazon delivered and everything? Doesn't make sense.
There's a restaurant, and then there's a barbecue place, but we don't have a bar.
But I'm sure that she said that she took an Uber home one night too. But anyway, I can't remember.
No. The dive bar that was here was closed. I don't know the channel Tough Topic. They kind of came out of the blue. But Tough Topic has reported a couple things that I can confidently say are not true. I do not know who they are.
All right. Now she's going to go off. She gets onto Duggars. So some other channels come up and said some stuff. So they said that Jessa and Ben were buying a new property, and she went through the property records and says, no, they're not. So she's saying that, she's sort of implying she's the only one that knows anything about the Duggars.
I did notice they were kind of ripping off some of my content, so I blocked them. But there's zero proof that Jessa's building a house, and Jessa has not purchased any property. And so this exclusive they have that Jessa's building a home is definitely not true.
And if you live in a modest home, I apologize because she's going to offend you too.
Jessa has not purchased any property. There's no property purchased in either one of their names, and no. Like, she was saying that they've got a show coming out. Not true. At all. And the house that she claims that Jess is building, not true at all. I noticed they literally just started their channel and they're trying to basically do the content that I do.
So if you talk about the Duggars, you're doing her content.
But Jess is not building a house. The Duggars are very, very transparent with property, and it's all legally done because Jim Bob is a realtor. There's aspects of the Duggars where it's like,
what? It's like what?
when people kept saying, oh, Jess is buying a house, and I was like, no. I mean, I hope she does. Jim Bob recently bought some property next to his house, like adjacent to his house. But I honestly don't see Ben and Jessa actually building next to the Duggars.
Oh, that's a really good question, Chris. Oh, no, she put on Instagram the other day she'd done property searches. That's how she knows. Yeah. No, but she's got all the sources, Joanne.
Living like closer to the Duggars because Ben has he's a pastor now, and I just don't see them like living closer to the Duggars. They live across the street from a dump. Yes, they got their property for cheap, and then they recently bought a chunk of property next to their property, but I 1000% do not see Jessa and Ben living on that property. Jessa and Ben's house is right off of a freeway.
So if you live within your means and you're frugal, she's going to have a go at you in a minute.
But Jessa and Ben also don't have the kind of income right now where they would be, I don't know, they own their house outright. And Jessa grew up in a house where they had 9 kids in 2 bedrooms. And she was like a teenager before they left that situation. So she's probably used to like having nothing.
She's used to having nothing.
But her house is not on the market, and they've purchased no property to build. And typically with the Duggars, when they're building, they will purchase property and then build.
Having your own house, owning a house outright is not nothing.
And the house that she showed for Jessa does not look at all consistent with what Jessa and Ben would be about. It was really high end. And if you pay attention to the Duggars, like, let's be frank, they're not high end people.
But they own their houses outright, KJ. So, but why do you have to be a high end person?
They just don't. That's not how they are. Even Joy and Austin remodeled their house, and it's not high end. No, they wouldn't live in a house like that. There's no way. They're cheap. Yeah, they're.
Oh, they're cheap. But they own their own house. That's not cheap. I do. Hey, if I owned a house, I'd be over the moon.
I would. Well, they're not. They're frugal, is what I would say, because they have a lot of kids.
But what's wrong with being frugal?
But the house that she showed, I was like, no, 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 no. Not to mention, I flat out have sources that are like directly connected to them, and no.
You want to? I know the way that she's talking about them.
These people are committed to living debt-free.
And what is wrong with living debt-free? Isn't that the goal of everybody? Paying cash for everything and living debt-free? So
debt-free in. They are not high end. The Duggars are frugal. They have thousands of children. That's like what they do. Jessa never showed the house. This channel called Tough Topic showed it. And she got a ton of views off of it. And now she's saying like updates about the Duggars getting a show. No. No. No.
It'd be so funny though if she was wrong.
Not true. I can tell you with certainty, 1000% certainty, there are several kids in that family that want nothing to do with filming ever again. I know for a fact that there are kids that will never film again. I know one of the biggest issues with the last few seasons, confidently, was that several of the kids did not want to film. And they had a hard time getting kids to film. And after shit happened with Jill and kids weren't getting paid and they realized they weren't getting paid, and some of the kids just want privacy. Like, they don't want to be on TV. Like, they grew up on TV. Like,
they want privacy, KJ, and yet you are sharing all their kids' pictures over Instagram. Well, that's real privacy, hey?
Jennifer, Johanna, Jordan, and Josie hate filming. That was what I was told. Jedediah and Jeremiah don't like filming. That was what I was told. Joanna and Austin wanted to leave the show and didn't want to be filmed anymore. Austin apparently never wanted to be on the show at all. Jeremy did not want to be on the show at all.
Yeah, so they want to have their privacy, and so they hide their kids' faces, and yet she comes up with all this scandal. She's allegedly Toad's mixing music, but when I mix my music, I actually have to have headphones on because you actually need to hear the sound properly. I don't believe he's mixing music.
When you were on that show, there's no control. Like Jim Bob had the contract. So the kids had no choice. Like they weren't paid and there was no contract for them. So Jim Bob was getting all the money. And then they had zero control of what was going on. So, like, I think for Jeremy and Ginger, like,
why is KJ the only one that's allowed to have sources within the family, though? That's what I want to know.
They want to do their own projects. Jim Bob is like the, yes, I'll just say that. I can tell you with like knowledge from like multiple people that have been connected to the show that I have knowledge that people were not paid. They had no say in how they were edited. They were forced to sign NDAs when they left.
But yeah, because some would have been minors, and once nobody gets a say as how they're edited because that's the production company and TLC. That's got nothing to do with the family.
Or if they didn't want to film. TLC controls the editing. And then after Josh got...
But how is that Jim Bob's fault about the if TLC controls the editing?
All that shit came out about Josh. Like, they had to clean everything up. And then they got a shit ton of backlash. Michelle was like, she did a robocall where she was like talking about transgender people getting access to bathrooms, and that went viral. And they stopped talking about their anti-LGBTQ plus stuff because they were losing sponsors. So then they became very cagey about their beliefs around the LGBTQ plus. They stopped being like openly, actively transphobic and homophobic, but they still are 100%. They got backlash for issues with like racism.
Yeah, it's really bizarre, isn't it? How this is going.
And then they stopped openly talking about that. With YouTube, they can actually make money on their own. I would say the one person that still hasn't really learned boundaries is Jessa.
Yes, she's talking about boundaries.
Joy hasn't either. But if you want a quote from today, I was told this: all of them lie. And I said, even the girls? They said, all of them lie. Because they learned how to lie from their liarsome parents.
I know how to lie too. I lie when I lie in bed. Sorry, I couldn't let that one go.
Allegedly. They don't, well, some of them don't have YouTube. Jessa has no boundaries, you guys. She has no boundaries. She doesn't get it. She doesn't realize she can have privacy because she's grown up with no privacy. She has, like, I don't think you realize. They don't have it. They don't understand boundaries. They don't understand privacy. They don't have, like, they're very socially awkward. That's all I can, that's my best way of describing it. Jessa is like, I can't.
Yeah, you're right. Unicorn sparkles and still playing with her hair. She's playing with the necklaces. Yep.
She's very indoctrinated. She's very, in regards to, like, she would be the sister that would try to bring Jill back into the cult. That's all I'll say about Jessa. Jessa's very indoctrinated. She's like the cleanup for the family. They're very socially stunted. They're also very educationally delayed and emotionally stunted.
Well, I know kids that grew up the same way, and they didn't grow up in a church cult or whatever she wants to call it. They grew up in a normal family, and that's the way that they were.
They don't have emotions. It's really sad. They're like property. I wish I could explain to you, like, in the context of how I've learned about this family and, like, intimately what I've learned about this family and how these kids are. And it's really sad, you guys. Like, the gossip and stuff isn't funny when you actually learn about how abused they've been and how neglected they've been by their parents, because there's so many of them, and all of the, like, injuries that have happened. And, like, y'all, I heard this story. Do you want some tea? Okay, I'll tell you the story. I was told, like, last week that, so Josie, she had, like, a seizure on the show, if you remember that. Well, I guess, like, when the seizure happened, there was not anyone in the room. Like, she was completely by herself. And then TLC made it seem like Jana, like, rescued her. And apparently that's not what happened.
Again, how is that the Douglas fault if that's a TLC thing? Again, how?
But Jana wasn't there when it happened. She was not in, that's not who found Josie. Like, TLC made it seem like Jana was the one that found Josie, and that's not actually what happened. Oh, really? Yes. Oh, really? Jana was apparently nowhere to be found. They make it look like Jana was the one that found her.
But that's a TLC problem, not a Duggar problem.
She was all alone. I will say that Jill has a very distant relationship with all of her sisters. All of them. She's not from what I understand about Jill, she's not close to any of her sisters anymore. There's probably multiple kids in the Duggars family that have disabilities that you just don't know about. Like, they would never admit it. Jill has come a long way, but she's also had to set really firm boundaries with her family, like seriously firm boundaries. Like, when you guys saw that shit that happened on Instagram where Jill was like surprised that Janice showed up.
I don't know. I told you it was apparently so, Princess Jax. I would be too. I'm not in the same room as my kids. They're in different rooms. But, you know, if something was to happen to them, unless they called out, I wouldn't know.
Like, she was not expecting to see Jana at all. And the Duggars took those photos down. Like, there's serious distancing that has happened with Jill and Derek since the arrest. Like, Jana showed up without telling Jill. And then the Duggars posted the kids on their Instagram. And then they removed them. I think Jill has been through a lot of therapy. And I think when a person that's heavily indoctrinated into a cult shows up at your house, you're not prepared for that. And I think if Jill's going to see her sister, she probably has to prepare for that, because you have to have boundaries. Because you don't understand, these people are they want to bring you back into the cult. And they're going to make you feel guilty if you're not in the cult. And they're going to pass judgment on you. And they're going to spend all of their time telling you about how you need to be back in the cult. And so if you're not expecting someone to show up, that's kind of like a violation. Most women in this cult have eating disorders because they're told that they have to be skinny. They're taught to deny food. They will spend all their time trying to like guilt Jill to come back to the cult. But no one else has left the cult.
How are you feeling about this? Is this riling you all up? Is this making people upset? She hasn't said the stuff about Jeremy yet.
FYI. Only Jill. She doesn't see her family very much at all. On YouTube, they can actually determine what they show. That's way different than the show.
You're raging Princess
Ginger's
Straps?
in her own cult. She's still in a cult. She's just in a different cult. Ginger does not believe in therapy. Ginger has anxiety, and they don't believe in therapy at all. She's never been to therapy, from what I'm told. She doesn't believe in medication.
All right. We are getting, you should hear what she says about her husband. So she did two lives. This is the second one. Fortunately, we've only got 9 minutes left. Praise the Lord.
Although has seemingly been obviously struggling with postpartum depression and an eating disorder. And yeah. Ginger went from one cult to another, and she's not no, he's playing on his computer. No, he's playing on his computer. There, he's right there. He's not rocking out. I don't know what he's doing. Probably editing music.
You can't edit music properly with somebody rabbiting on in your ear. He needs to be having headphones on his ear because you don't get. So when I edit music, I have to wear headphones because it blocks out all the noise around, and I can focus on that. There's no way he can be properly editing that with her voice in the background. I'm sorry. I don't believe it.
He's editing his music.
Don't believe it.
Do I think Ginger's husband was a virgin? No.
All right, now we're going to hear, this is the really scandalous stuff coming now. And we've been on the edge of scandalous. We're going to get there now.
Ginger's husband is horribly bigoted. He is super homophobic. He is so sexist. He is super transphobic. Their church does not allow women to be pastors. They don't allow women to talk in church. Just because she can wear pants and shorts means nothing. She's not allowed to have a job. She's not allowed to do anything. She's expected to be at home. They don't believe in racism. They think it's a construct.
No, we haven't even got to the bad stuff yet.
They deny racism. They are like white supremacists. It's in a lot of ways. If you read the social aspects that this group believes in, it's truly disgusting. Like, who in this day and age does not believe that racism is real? They literally believe it's a social construct developed that is not. They don't believe that someone actually deals with privilege, white privilege. If you actually read the things that the church like has put out for their social positions, it's beyond disturbing. I don't know if Jeremy is violent. I honestly feel like Jeremy would be more of a cheater. To be.
Do you hear that? Did you just hear what she said?
The social aspects that this group believes in, it's truly disgusting. Like, who in this day and age does not believe that racism is real? They literally believe it's a social construct developed that is not. They don't believe that someone actually deals with privilege, white privilege.
Okay, so just in case you missed it before, watch.
If you actually read the things that the church like has put out for their social positions, it's beyond disturbing. I don't know if Jeremy is violent. I honestly feel like Jeremy would be more of a cheater, to be honest.
And that's funny. Really? Did you all hear that? She said she thinks Jeremy would be a cheater.
If you go to the church's website and you see, like, they have these different doctrine and statements of belief they sign, it's so disturbing. There's one all about homosexuality. Like, that's the whole thing is about homosexuality. And it's literally about, like, the devil spawned. Does their cult have a name? It's just Google John MacArthur. They also don't believe COVID is real.
I don't know, Molly Moo.
They're basically like a form of Baptists that have gone off the deep end to another extreme. It's all like a subset of Baptists. And John MacArthur he literally went on record and he said that he does not want freedom of religion. He only wants people to believe his religion. And if they don't believe what he believes, he doesn't care about them. Like, he will not advocate for freedom of religion because he says that advocating for anyone that believes anything beyond what he believes would be an abomination. I mean, John MacArthur's crazy. He also has had, like, he's been in the news for, like, protecting someone that, like, raped someone.
Sorry. Oh. I can't believe I paused it there. I was apologizing about the R word, so please close your eyes if you need to, because I can't go back. The pause.
Good night.
And I paused it.
I just think they're different than NIFB. Steven Anderson's crazy.
I can't believe I paused it at that right spot. Oh, you're drunk uncle.
John MacArthur is nuts. Like, you should see, like, Google John MacArthur on not believing in freedom of religion. He's like a cult leader. It's so disturbing. And basically the school that Jeremy's at is just teaching him to, like, start his own, like, cult church. And their beliefs are so extreme. Like, dude, they don't let women have a voice there. It's like a bro party. It's so gross, but they dress like super progressive and women can wear like short skirts. And so people are like, oh, cool. No.
How many lawsuits can she handle? I don't know. Poor game right on point there. I didn't get a screenshot. I was going to apologize because she used the R word. I realized. Oh, here we go. We've only got a few more minutes now.
And anyway, and another thing, Jeremy doesn't have money from being a professional player. I hope you guys know that he barely played professionally ever, like, at all. If you actually read their book, He legitimately spent all of his time on the bench. He wasn't making a lot of money. He doesn't have like this nest egg from being a professional soccer player. He was kicked. He was like demoted from one team. He played in like the minor leagues. He was not a star player.
According to player bio, Jeremy Valverde, he has a net worth of $2 million. All right, so you must be doing all right.
And I don't know if you understand, like in the football, like if you think of like a bench warmer in football, the players in the bench warmers of American football make like $60,000 a year. Now think of soccer, which does not have the same amount of money that has come in for his. He wasn't making very much money. They don't have, probably from their, I don't even know, their book. They don't, the home they live in is paid for by the church while he's in ministry. They have a Lexus now. I'm sure like they made money from their book, and I'm sure they make some, I don't know about their podcast.
I think she's talking about in the US, but
I'm sure they made a decent amount of money in their book.
Now, I did Google benchwarmer soccer US, and a site that I've said found that benchwarmers in the professional soccer players in the US got something like 100 grand. So he was doing all right. Not making the big bucks, but hey, not bad.
No, those cults are all about being debt free.
What is wrong with being debt free though? Can someone explain to me why being debt free is a problem? Yeah, I'm sorry, I did put slow mode on. But why is being debt free such a problem?
But John MacArthur's like a mega church guy. He's like a multimillionaire. So I don't know. John MacArthur's like a walking contradiction. Just Google him. I don't even have time to go into what a like
Doesn't
mess
have time.
that man is.
No, because he probably will sue you.
They like shame rape victims. It's so gross. If you honestly want to listen to Jeremy, just go to the Laredo YouTube channel. It is so bad.
So she was online for about over 2.5 hours today in lives on Instagram.
I will say that the reason why Amy posts so much about mental health, hint, hint, right, I'm so tired. I need to go to bed. So thank you guys for being here tonight. Thank you for all the badges. Donna and Gowdy Karen and Lynn's Fit and Bird and Janice Rose and Beth and Becky. I appreciate your support here. And I think
it says Pavlovian. Someone says Pavlovian here. That's not Pavlovian. Pavlov's most famous experiment was making dogs drool. Is your son a dog? Yes, she does. She says she's getting ready to file her.
Instagram is not tech.
She did say that she is getting ready to file her counterclaims, but she's only got one lawsuit as far as I know.
I mean, me out anymore. Is that a new thing? They used to time me out after an hour. Now they're not doing that, which is nice. So have a good night, you guys. Blame Jesse. Blame Scarlett. Be nice to people with autism. Labels are okay. Don't make people that have disabilities fit into your box, okay? Just allow people to be who they are and stop trying to make people that aren't neurotypical. Neurodivergence is beautiful, and the sooner you embrace it, the better. Everybody's got challenges. Everyone. Good night.
So this person says, excuse me, my son has Asperger's high functioning autism level 1, and you have no idea what my son had to go through. Doctor's appointments, teachers coming to our house, his tendencies, meltdowns. You said your son does not have it 100 times. So don't you dare act like you know anything about Asperger's autism when I live every day with my son. There's Asperger's autism in my family between 5 boys, so I do know everything about it. Don't ever say Asperger's don't exist anymore because you're spreading false information. Oh, so there you go. So anyway, that was her live. So what do you reckon? How are you feeling about that? But that was the better one. The first one was horrible. As I said, if you want to watch it, please don't. Please understand it's a severe graphic warning. It is severe and horrible. Let's just see what's happening on Twitter, and now I'm going to go because it's nearly midnight, and I'm helping Harrison with his schoolwork in the morning. So that's going to be interesting. And I need sleep for that. So she said, can't wait to file my counterclaims. The coming weeks are going to be phenomenal. But see, then she'd said, Kim just threatened me in my email and released a video of a fake DM. And I'm a girl wouldn't put, no, I couldn't, there is no way that I could, unless you begged me. I don't know that I, in all good conscience, could actually do it. So she's saying this person just emailed me, threatened me in an email, then released a video of a fake DM. I don't know what she's talking about. Oh, you mean in her first one, Josh Duggar and and the dark web. So there you go. All right, well, I'm going to thank you all for joining me. I'm going to head off now. So thank you for sitting through that. You all deserve stickers for that. That was pretty hard work. I don't know what's going on. I think it's going to get worse. I think she's going to get worse before she gets better. Yeah, so I've got 2 mornings, the Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday I've got classes. I've got afternoon classes tomorrow. So in the morning I'm spending helping Harrison do his online school. And then Wednesday I'm going to have to hand it over to my mum. So toodle, or as Harrison says, toodle pips. Is that from Jimmy Rees, I think? Yeah, I don't want to go through the details of that. That was yeah, horrifying. But if you're brave and you want to do it, I'm just, yeah, toodle pip. Toodle pip. All right. Well, thank you. I will catch you again tomorrow.